This is music, and this is another bunch of songs from the Pukebox. Welcome to another episode of Songs from the Pukebox, the worst titled What's Spinning series ever. I know that. It's just a bad pun on Pukebox. The puke part, just a bad joke, a reference to the fact that a lot of contemporary extreme metal bands have a bit of a fascination with vomit. That's it. So in these videos, I share with you some of the music I've been spinning throughout the week. This has actually been an exam week, so we've been very busy at work with exams and all that stuff. But I did manage to listen to some CDs and some vinyl. So let's have a look at some of that. So at first, it was pretty nice to get to listen to this one again for the first time in a couple of years, I think. Pesticidas Tóxico. So this is a Portuguese punk band. This is not the cover art, it's just a booklet. Came in a digipack. I had that stored safely somewhere else. So this is the only album I've ever heard by this band. I bought it a long time ago in a Fnac in Porto, or Oporto, you know, the city in Portugal. And so this is a punk band, and the core sound here is punk, but you have lots of different kind of genres of punk, from, you know, straight up punk rock. It opens up with just you know, an all-out, you know, punk song. Then you have some ska punk as well. There's a song called Ska Cor Echo. And then there's an acoustic version of it, more or less, later on, called Ska Caustica. You have some groove metal and groove hard rock songs, such as Funky Riot, for example, complete with a horn section, so that's actually pretty cool. You have a funk rock song called Deixa de Filosofar, and even a mock crossover song called the Thrash metal. And this is just a very enjoyable listen if you like punk music. I will say when they go groovy, they go very groovy, and I actually really like the groovy songs on here. So yeah, I think this is a great song. There's also an all-out kind of 90s metal kind of song called Continua a Cantar. Great stuff. If you like punk music and you don't mind that people that sing in Portuguese rather than English, check this one out. I enjoyed listening to it for the first time in a bunch of years. Then I listened to this one too, and it was just next to Pesticida in my collection, so I grabbed this one as well. So Pestilence, Malleus Maleficarum. It also includes the two demos, so the Dysentery demo and the Penance demo. But the main album here it's very, very early death metal. So early death metal that it's kind of thrash, really. You know, just thrash taken a step or two up in extremeness. And that is basically what very early death metal was. It was thrash with an extra oomph, and then it became more and more and more oomphy, and then, you know, it was all out death metal. But this is great. I love the guitar tone on here. The songs are fast and aggressive. Some of them, however, you know, in addition to the thrash part, some of them even have a little bit of speed metal and just traditional heavy metal just every now and then. But the core sound, thrash, or death thrash maybe. Just so many great songs on here. The vocals by Martin van Drunen are, I wouldn't call them growls, to be honest. They are harsh, but they're more like gruff shouts, kind of like Lemmy in ways. There are places where actually I'm reminded of Lemmy, but they fit the music perfectly. So, you know, if you're interested in very, very early death metal, check this one out. It has very, very little in common with the progressive death metal style that they're known for now, but do check it out anyways. This one and Consuming Impulse, they're actually extremely good kind of death thrash albums. And then I listened to this one, Touchstone's Winter Coast, and I was inspired by a reaction video that Mark from the Wandering Souls webzine did. He did a reaction to a live version of Strange Days from this album. And it was actually, I made the suggestion that he react to the song. But this live version is a bit problematic, I think, in terms of the mixing and the mastering. So the keyboards are way too loud. The studio version is fantastic, though. So I was kind of inspired to listen to the studio version, and why not the entire album? So this is progressive rock. It's modern progressive rock from the early 2000s, from the early 2010s, I think, or maybe I think it's from 2010, maybe 2009 or 11, I don't know, something like that. But it's progressive rock, very heavy parts every now and then. I mean, some of the songs, they kind of go in a rush, early rush, really heavy direction. But you also have lots of really soft and tender parts as well, and it's a nice musical journey. Joker in the Park, that's another great song. So check out Joker in the Park if you want to check out some songs from this album. Also, Strange Days. Strange Days is an all-out just hard rock song, and it's my favorite song of this album. And there's some riffage in that song that kind of reminds me of Best I Can by Queensryche, which isn't a problem because I love that song too. The vocalist, Kim Savoir, she has a very unique voice. It's kind of a very soft voice. She doesn't do a lot of belting. She can do it, and you can hear that in Strange Days, for example. But yeah, it's a great progressive rock album. It's not super technical. They don't have a lot of odd time signatures. It's more like the musical journey style of progressive rock, kind of like a Marillion approach. Fantastic stuff. Love this album. Okay, speaking of progressive music, I decided to listen to this one as well, which I haven't spun in a while either. Control and Resistance by Watchtower. Progressive power thrash, maybe. And I also gave this one here a spin as well while I was at it. Energetic Disassembly. And these two albums here they're very similar in style. So it's super technical power thrash, lots of odd time signatures, just weird drum fills, very advanced drumming as well. And then you have just insane vocals, just soaring high vocals by Jason McMaster. Here it even says vocal insanity. And this one here, by the way, that's a Dive Bomb reissue. I didn't know that when I picked it up because that was before I became kind of cognizant about all the labels and all that stuff. I just wanted the music. But both of these are fantastic if you like progressive technical thrash metal. The guitar tone is a bit weird perhaps to a lot of people. It's I wouldn't say it's panned out, but it's very kind of hollow in a way, and then it has lots of reverb, and it sounds like it kind of envelops the bass. The bass is very, very audible. It's actually kind of I would say the bass is the focal point, which is great because the bass does a lot of awesome work, and it's more like the guitar kind of supports it, which is very interesting. There's some really cool guitar solos on here. Some of them are very jazzy, some of them are just insane. So if you like a challenging listen with soaring high vocals, riffs and sections that keep changing all the time, drumming that's just insane, check this out. I love these two albums, especially on this one. The opening track, very aptly titled Instruments of Random Murder. Mayday in Kiev is another fantastic song. The Fall of Reason as well. Control and Resistance, the title track. All of the songs on here. On this one here too, all the songs are great. I particularly like Tyrants in Distress though, but it's all fantastic stuff. So really recommend it if you like your Realm, if you like your Voivod, although it's very different from Voivod, but prog tech, thrash-y kind of stuff. So if you like that sort of stuff, check Watchtower out. But it is a challenging listen, so you're warned. Okay, and I also managed to listen to some vinyl, which I think I mentioned. So Always nice to listen to this one here, 1980 by Bratz. So this is the band that would become A Merciful Fate. King Diamond isn't in here, but you have Denner, you have Sherman, right there. So Bratz, well actually, yeah. So this, by the way, this is Jens on vocals and bass. Anyways, they started out being a punk band, and then they, transitioned into becoming a heavy metal band, and from there on, bang, they would become Merciful Fate, more or less. This is super interesting because this is after they had become a metal band, but they still had some punk influences in their music. And you can hear that some of the songs are all out just punk songs. Most of them are traditional heavy metal songs. And this is from 1980, but it sounds like it could be from 1983, 1985, so it's a bit ahead of its time. And there's so many great songs on here. OY905 is a fantastic song. There's a song called Heavy Rocker, or is it Catch That Heavy Rocker? Don't remember, but I think it's just Heavy Rocker. Just great songs on here. Like I said, you got some punk songs as well. All out, great stuff. This, by the way, is a reissue on High Roller Records. I do have a CD reissue too, but I don't remember if that's High Roller. And I gave this one yet another spin. I've spun this one a lot of times. Dying of Everything by Obituary. A great album. It sounds like Obituary, and what more can you wish for? You got some fast songs. You got their, kind of signature mid-tempo to heavy songs. I think John Tardy sounds amazing on here. The guitar tone is recognizable as Obituary, but it doesn't have the same complete muddiness and fuzziness that their classics have, which I think a lot of people that were not around back then, they will probably like this guitar tone here a bit better. But it is unmistakably Obituary. It's very recognizable. Great stuff. And super old school as well, which is one of the things I really appreciate about it. And the last vinyl is this one here, Chord in the Act by Satan. This is a Music on Vinyl reissue. Traditional heavy metal, awesome stuff. Quite speedy in places, which I actually quite appreciate. So this is a great album. If you just like your just old school heavy metal, check this one out. And this is a very old band. They were around in the new wave of British heavy metal days. I quite often tend to get these and Hell mixed up for some reason. Probably Hell, Satan, they're pretty close to each other in terms of, the topic, whatever. Hell is a bit more progressive. Anyways, this is great stuff. Do check it out if you just love heavy metal, because this is heavy metal, unadulterated. So there you go. I did manage to listen to a little bit of music this week, and pretty good stuff, I think myself. I would recommend checking all of these out. And if you like punk music again, and you want to explore the punk music traditions from other countries than the usual ones, check out Pesticida. Thanks for watching.